I was born on June 1st, 1937, in Memphis, Tennessee. The youngest of 5 children, I was welcomed into a world that was both beautiful and harsh. My parents, Mamie Edna and Morgan Porterfield Freeman Sr., worked tirelessly to provide for us. My mother was a school teacher, a beacon of knowledge and discipline in our household, while my father worked as a barber. They were the steady pillars holding our family together in a segregated South where opportunities for black families were limited and often unfair. Life in Memphis was a patchwork of simple pleasures and systemic barriers. Our neighborhood was modest, filled with neighbors who shared similar struggles and hopes. I remember the sound of gospel music floating through the air on Sunday mornings, the smell of my mother's cooking wafting from the kitchen, and the fierce determination in her eyes when she insisted on the importance of education. School was not just a place for learning, it was a sanctuary. I was a quiet, observant child, not naturally outgoing, but deeply curious. Books became my companions. I devoured everything I could get my hands on, losing myself in stories of faraway places and heroes who looked nothing like me but inspired me nonetheless. Even then, I had a feeling that my voice mattered, not in the way of shouting or speaking over others, but in the quiet way that demands to be heard. I would mimic the radio announcers and actors I admired, trying to find the tone and cadence that felt like me. My mother encouraged it, telling me that my voice was a gift I should cherish. But the world outside our home was unforgiving. Segregation laws and Jim Crow attitudes meant my family lived with constant reminders that we were considered less than by many around us. I witnessed this injustice in subtle and blatant ways, from the schools we attended to the restaurants where we were refused service. Yet, these hardships only strengthened my resolve. My father instilled in me a quiet dignity. Though life was tough, he taught me to hold my head high and work hard. He was a man of few words but deep convictions. Watching him at work, I learned the value of patience and pride in craftsmanship. Those lessons would stay with me long after he was gone. At 18, after graduating high school, I joined the United States Air Force. It was a pivotal decision, a chance to break away from the constraints of my hometown and see the world beyond Mississippi. The military was a different world, filled with rules but also unexpected freedoms. For the first time, I was exposed to people from all backgrounds and parts of the country. It was the 1950s, a time of change and tension in America, but also a time when I began to understand my place in the broader story of this nation. I was a mechanic, working on airplanes. The work was technical and demanding, but it grounded me. The structure of the military taught me discipline, responsibility, and the value of teamwork. But even in that environment, I never lost sight of my inner voice that wanted to perform, to tell stories. While stationed at various bases, I sought out opportunities to act in plays and community theater. It wasn't a career yet, just a passion that I nurtured quietly. After 4 years, I left the Air Force with a vision that was still hazy but alive. I wanted to be an actor. Los Angeles was calling. Moving to Los Angeles in the late 1950s was like stepping into another world. The city was vibrant, fast-paced, and full of contradictions. Opportunities for black actors were scarce and often limited to stereotypical roles. But I was undeterred. I knew the path ahead would be difficult, but the fire inside me was strong. I enrolled at Los Angeles City College and later studied at the Pasadena Playhouse. The stage was where I found my voice, literally and figuratively. Acting in theater productions taught me the craft, the discipline, and the courage to stand in front of an audience and bare my soul. But survival was never guaranteed. I worked odd jobs, janitor, cook, and forklift operator, anything that would pay the bills while I chased my dream. Some nights, the loneliness was overwhelming. Rejection letters piled up. Roles I auditioned for were given to others, sometimes for no better reason than the color of my skin. Still, I persevered. In 1964, I joined the New York City-based theater company, the Negro Ensemble Company. It was a transformative experience. There, surrounded by other black artists committed to telling authentic stories, I grew both as an actor and as a man. The roles I played ranged from classical to contemporary, each pushing me to new limits. The mid-1960s marked a turning point in my life and career. After years of honing my craft in theater and enduring the harsh realities of racial discrimination, I finally landed roles that put me on the path toward broader recognition. Moving to New York had exposed me to a vibrant black arts movement, but the dream of film and television still beckoned. Hollywood, with its glaring lights and endless possibilities, was both enticing and intimidating. For many black actors then, the roles were limited, often stereotyped and rarely leading. But I was determined to carve a different path. One of my earliest screen appearances came in 1967 with a small part on the television series The Electric Company. It was a children's educational show on PBS aimed at improving literacy, and I played a character named Easy Reader. That role didn't make me a star overnight, but it gave me steady work and a platform to showcase my natural storytelling abilities. Around that time, I also started taking on roles in theater productions that challenged racial barriers. I remember playing significant parts in plays like The Nigger Lovers and The Incident. These roles were raw, intense, and sometimes controversial. But they were also honest, and they allowed me to display a range of emotion that few black actors were afforded on screen. Despite this, Hollywood was slow to open its doors. There were moments of deep frustration. I would go weeks, sometimes months, without hearing about auditions. I heard the same excuses. No roles for you right now. We're looking for someone different. But I didn't let that stop me. I kept showing up, kept rehearsing, kept believing. In 1980, I got my first big break in the film industry with Brubaker. Starring alongside Robert Redford, I played a prisoner named Walter. Though my screen time was limited, the role was powerful. It showed I could hold my own next to established stars and that I was ready for more complex characters. Then came the role that many say changed everything for me. Street Smart, 1987. I played Fast Black, a streetwise hustler with a fierce presence. This role earned me my first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. The nomination was a vindication of years of hard work and quiet perseverance. It was Driving Miss Daisy, 1989, though, that introduced me to a wider audience and cemented my place in Hollywood. Playing Hoke Colburn, a gentle and wise chauffeur to an elderly white woman, I found a character with warmth, dignity, and humor. The film was a critical and commercial success, and it earned me my first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. But it was The Shawshank Redemption, 1994, and $1 Million Baby, 2004, that truly showcased the breadth of my abilities. Playing Red in Shawshank gave me a role that was nuanced, hopeful, and deeply human. And winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in $1 Million Baby was the pinnacle, a moment where all the years of struggle, rejection, and persistence finally paid off. While my career soared, my personal life remained grounded in humility and family. I've been married twice and have 4 children. My relationships haven't always been easy, like many others, but my family has been my anchor. I've also been passionate about narrating and voice work. The richness of storytelling is something I cherish deeply. My voice has become one of my most recognizable tools, and lending it to documentaries, commercials, and even video games has been a rewarding side of my work. Outside of acting, I have been involved in philanthropic efforts, particularly those supporting education and the arts. I believe that storytelling and education are powerful forces for change, that the more voices we hear, the richer our collective experience becomes. Now, as I look back on my life and career, I see a journey marked by patience, resilience, and an unshakable belief in the power of storytelling. I've been fortunate to work with extraordinary artists and to bring to life characters that have touched hearts across the world. My story isn't just mine. It's the story of every person who's been underestimated, overlooked, or told they don't belong. It's about rising above those limits and finding your own voice. In interviews, I often say that the secret to longevity in this business is love. Love for the craft, for the people, and for the stories themselves. That love keeps you moving forward, even when the odds seem stacked against you. If you're chasing a dream, remember, it's not about the destination, but the journey. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every no is an opportunity to sharpen your resolve. So keep your voice strong, speak your truth, and never ever stop believing.